They thought I'd cry and leave. I smiled and handed the judge a copy of the real deed. My name is Isla Montgomery. I'm 29, and I grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina, where my mother's family estate was the heart of our shared life. After Mom passed away last spring, I inherited the $2 million property, our sanctuary of memories. But weeks after the funeral, my father, Richard, blindsided me, transferring the deed to his new wife, Tessa, a 30-year-old socialite, without a word. My half-siblings, Chloe and Max, cheered Tessa on, calling me too sentimental to deserve it. They didn't know I'd made a second copy of the deed and placed the estate in a trust under Mom's name. While Tessa redecorated my home, I was preparing for a court date to take it all back, pulling the strings they never saw. It started at Mom's memorial dinner in Raleigh a month after her passing. The estate's dining room, with its oak table and Mom's vintage chandelier, was filled with family, but the mood was cold. Dad sat beside Tessa, his arm around her, while Chloe and Max praised her modern vision for the house. I sat quietly, sipping wine, when Tessa smirked. "Isla, you're not attached to this old place, are you?" Dad added, "It's time to move on, Isla." Chloe laughed. "She's too emotional to handle it." Max nodded. "Tessa's got big plans." Their words cut, but I stayed silent. They thought I was broken, but I was planning. The truth, I wasn't just sentimental. Mom had named me sole heir in her will, a notarized document leaving the estate to me for its family legacy. Before her death, she'd warned me about Dad's spending and Tessa's influence, urging me to protect the property. I'd worked as a paralegal, so I knew the law. After the funeral, I'd quietly placed the estate in a revocable trust under Mom's name, with me as trustee, locking the deed's control. When Dad transferred it to Tessa, I got a copy of the fraudulent deed, signed without my consent as trustee. He thought I'd never notice. Tessa's gloating at the dinner pushed me to act. She'd already repainted Mom's study, throwing lavish parties in my home. My family didn't question Dad's move. Chloe texted, "Tessa's the future," and Max called me stuck in the past. Dad emailed, "The house is Tessa's now. Let it go." I saved every message, building my case. I'd already hired a lawyer, Karen Wells, who specialized in property disputes. "This is fraud," Karen said over coffee in Raleigh. "The trust overrides their transfer." I nodded, my eyes narrowing. I want it clean and public. I gathered evidence to bury them. I had Mom's will, naming me heir, and the trust documents, filed legally before Dad's stunt. Property records showed I'd paid the estate's taxes for years, using my savings. Emails from Mom detailed her wish to keep the house for family, not Tessa's parties. I also had texts from Tessa pre-transfer saying, "I can't wait to own that place." My private investigator, Alex Reed, dug deeper, finding Tessa's lawyer, Paul Grant, had forged the new deed's date. A voicemail from Grant to Tessa, intercepted by Alex, said, "Don't worry, Isla's too quiet to fight." It was gold. Karen filed a motion to void the transfer, citing fraud and my trust's authority. "We'll request an eviction order," she said. Tessa ignored the summons. The hearing was set for a public Raleigh court, often live-streamed for high-profile cases. I wanted Tessa's defeat on camera. I tipped off a Raleigh Times reporter, Lisa Nguyen, anonymously. "The Montgomery Estates deed is disputed. Watch the hearing." Lisa replied, "I'll be there. Sounds explosive." I invited my family to the hearing, framing it as a formality. They RSVP'd, expecting to gloat. I needed allies in court. My friend Mia, a real estate agent who'd helped with the estate's appraisal, agreed to testify. "That house is yours, Isla," she said over lunch. "I've got the appraisal records." Mia had documents proving the estate's value tied to my payments. I also contacted Mr. Larson, Mom's estate planner, who confirmed the trust's validity. "Your mother trusted you," he said. "I'll back you." Their support was my shield. Tessa had charm, but I had the law. The night before the hearing, Tessa hosted another party at my house, posting photos of her remodeled kitchen. I stood in my apartment, staring at a photo of Mom and me in the estate's garden. My folder was packed: will, trust documents, texts, and Grant's voicemail. I texted Karen. "Ready?" She replied, "They won't see it coming." My family thought I'd cry and leave. Soon I'd smile and hand the judge the real deed. Hey, if you're hooked on this story, hit that subscribe button for Revenge Line. We bring you epic family drama and revenge tales every week. Comment below and tell us where you're watching from. Stay tuned because Isla's about to pull the strings. The court hearing to reclaim my mother's $2 million estate in Raleigh, North Carolina, was days away. And I, Isla Montgomery, was in my modest apartment, meticulously building a case to prove my father, Richard, and his new wife, Tessa, had stolen my inheritance through a fraudulent deed transfer. My half-siblings, Chloe and Max, had cheered Tessa's takeover, calling me too sentimental to deserve the house, while my father stayed silent, letting the betrayal unfold. They didn't know I'd secured the estate in a trust under Mom's name, with a second copy of the original deed, and had evidence to void their scheme. While Tessa threw lavish parties in my home, I was pulling the strings, waiting for the judge to restore what was mine. I'd spent weeks fortifying my case, knowing Tessa's socialite charm and Dad's influence could sway perceptions if I wasn't airtight. I had Mom's will, notarized, naming me sole heir to the estate for its family legacy. The trust documents filed before Dad's transfer made me the trustee, locking the deed's control. Property records showed I'd paid $50,000 in estate taxes from my savings as a paralegal, proving my stake. Emails from Mom, sent during her illness, detailed her wish to keep the house for family memories, not Tessa's parties. A text from Tessa, pre-transfer, read, "I'll make that house mine soon." My private investigator, Alex Reed, had uncovered the forged deed, backdated by Tessa's lawyer, Paul Grant. A voicemail from Grant to Tessa, intercepted by Alex, said, "Isla won't check the trust. We're clear." It was my trump card. My lawyer, Karen Wells, was confident. We met at a quiet Raleigh diner, away from Tessa's social circle. "The trust overrides their deed," Karen said, flipping through my folder. "They ignored the summons, thinking you'd fold." I leaned forward, my voice low. "I want it public. Let Tessa's parties crash on camera." Karen had filed a motion to void the transfer, citing fraud, and requested an eviction order if we won. She subpoenaed Grant's records, revealing his history of forging documents for clients. "He's sloppy," she said. "This'll bury him." The hearing was set for a live-streamed Raleigh court, perfect for exposing Tessa's fraud. I needed allies for the hearing. My friend Mia, a real estate agent who'd appraised the estate, was ready to testify. Over coffee in Raleigh, she reviewed my tax payments. "You've been keeping that house alive, Isla," she said. "I've got the appraisal records to prove it." Mia had documents tying the estate's value to my contributions. I also contacted Mr. Larson, Mom's estate planner, who'd helped draft the trust. "Your mother knew you'd protect her legacy," he said over a call. "I'll confirm the trust's validity." Their support was my foundation. Tessa had flash, but I had facts. Back at my apartment, I played the grieving daughter. Tessa's parties at the estate grew bolder, her social media posts showing her remodeled dining room, once Mom's favorite. Chloe texted, "Tessa's made it a palace." Max emailed, "Stop whining about the house, Isla." Dad called, his tone cold. "Tessa's the future of this family, move on." I saved every message, fuel for my fire. They didn't know I'd RSVP'd to Tessa's next big party, invited as a pity guest. I'd be there, silent, letting her gloat before the court date flipped the script. I needed to amplify the exposure. Lisa Nguyen, the Raleigh Times reporter, was covering Tessa's party due to her socialite status. I sent another anonymous tip. "The Montgomery estate's deed is fraudulent. Watch the court hearing." Lisa replied, "Cameras are ready." I wanted Tessa's downfall broadcast live. I also contacted the Raleigh Property Board, sending a note. "The Montgomery transfer was illegal. Review the court case." They replied, We'll be watching. My evidence, will, trust, tax records, texts, and Grant's voicemail would crush them. I prepared a statement for the hearing, sharp and concise, outlining Mom's will, my trust, and Tessa's fraud. I included Mom's emails and Tessa's text, framing my role as the estate's protector. I practiced in my apartment, standing before a mirror, my voice calm but firm. I wasn't going to cry. I'd be the daughter Mom trusted. I researched North Carolina trust law with Karen's help, confirming that trusts with clear intent were nearly incontestable. My documents, backed by Larson's testimony, were bulletproof. The family sensed trouble. At Tessa's party, Dad pulled me aside, his eyes narrow. "Isla, you're not planning something stupid, are you?" I shrugged, sipping a drink. "Just here to celebrate, Dad?" Tessa overheard, laughing. "This house is mine now, Isla. Get used to it." Chloe smirked. "You're too soft for this fight." I smiled, saying nothing. Their arrogance was my weapon. They didn't see the judge coming. Max texted later, his tone sharp. "Don't embarrass us in court." I saved it, adding it to my folder. I needed one more ally. My old boss, Rachel Cohen, a Raleigh attorney who'd mentored me as a paralegal, reviewed my case. "Isla, this is a masterclass in legal prep," she said over tea. "The trust's airtight." Rachel agreed to attend the hearing, ready to speak on trust law if needed. She also had dirt. Grant's firm was under investigation for fraud in another case. "Use this if they push back," she said, handing me a file. I added it to my USB, backed up with my other evidence. The day before the hearing, Tessa posted another photo captioned, "My forever home." I stood in my apartment, staring at my black dress, elegant, unyielding. My folder was packed: will, trust, emails, texts, and Grant's voicemail. I texted Karen, "Ready?" She replied, "Tessa's world's about to flip." I called Mia, confirming she'd be in court. "They'll choke when you win," she said, laughing. I nodded, my nerves steady. My family thought I'd cry and leave. Soon I'd smile and hand the judge the real deed. Hey, if you're loving this revenge story, smash that subscribe button for Revenge Line. We drop epic family drama and takedowns every week. Comment below and tell us where you're watching from. Stay tuned, because Isla's about to pull the final string. The Raleigh, North Carolina courthouse was a storm of anticipation, its benches packed with reporters, neighbors, and a live-stream camera broadcasting to the city's news outlets. I, Isla Montgomery, stood at the plaintiff's table, my black dress sharp and elegant, my folder brimming with evidence proving my mother's $2 million estate was mine by right. My father, Richard, had blindsided me, transferring the deed to his new wife, Tessa, a socialite who'd turned my family home into her party palace. My half-siblings, Chloe and Max, had cheered her on, calling me too sentimental to deserve it. They didn't know I'd secured the estate in a trust under Mom's name, with a second copy of the original deed. Today, I'd hand the judge the real deed, and Tessa's gloating would end in silence. My allies, Mia, a real estate agent, and Mr. Larson, Mom's estate planner, sat behind me, ready to confirm my ownership. Lisa Nguyen, a Raleigh Times reporter, was in the crowd, her camera crew capturing every moment for the live stream. Tessa sat across the room, her designer dress gleaming, smirking with her lawyer, Paul Grant. My father, Chloe, and Max, watching from home, thought I'd crumble. My evidence was ironclad: Mom's will, trust documents, tax records, Tessa's texts, and Grant's damning voicemail. I was ready to pull the strings and take back my home. The hearing began, Judge Evelyn Carter presiding. My lawyer, Karen Wells, opened with precision. Isla Montgomery is the rightful owner of the estate at 230 Willow Lane, per her mother's will and a legal trust. She presented Mom's notarized will, naming me sole heir, and the trust documents, making me trustee. The defendant's deed is fraudulent, Karen said, showing the forged transfer, backdated by Grant. The judge reviewed my tax payments, $50,000 from my savings as a paralegal. Tessa's lawyer stood, his tone slick. Mrs. Montgomery consented to the transfer. Karen countered, projecting Tessa's text. I'll make that house mine soon. The courtroom stirred, cameras zooming. Tessa's smirk faded. I took the stand, my voice steady. My mother left me the estate to preserve our family legacy. I placed it in a trust to protect it. I held up the original deed. My name is trustee clear. My father and Tessa forged a transfer without my consent. Karen played Grant's voicemail. Isla won't check the trust. We're clear. The room gasped, reporters scribbling. Lisa Nguyen's crew caught Tessa's face paling. Grant stammered, That's misconstrued. Judge Carter silenced him. I'll judge that. Proceed, Ms. Montgomery. Mia testified next, her voice firm. Isla paid the estate's taxes, maintaining its value. My appraisal records confirm her stake. Mr. Larson followed, holding up the trust. Helen Montgomery entrusted Isla to protect the estate. The trust is valid. Karen presented Alex Reed's findings, Grant's history of forging documents, including a case under investigation. Tessa stood, her voice shrill. This is my house. Isla's too weak to fight. I stayed calm, showing Mom's email. Isla, keep the house for our family. The crowd buzzed, the live stream capturing Tessa's unraveling. Judge Carter leaned forward. The trust is legally binding, and the defendant's deed is fraudulent. She voided the transfer, restoring the estate to me, and ordered Tessa's eviction within 48 hours. The gavel slammed, and the room erupted. Tessa screamed, This isn't fair! Grant slumped, his career ruined. Lisa Nguyen's cameras zoomed in, the feed going viral. My father texted, Isla, we didn't know. Chloe and Max called, their voices shaky. How did you do this? I didn't reply. They'd dismissed me as sentimental. 2 days later, I stood outside 230 Willow Lane, the estate's garden blooming as it had in Mom's day. The sheriff arrived, eviction notice in hand. Tessa was packing, her belongings stacked in the driveway. Neighbors watched, whispering. Lisa Nguyen's crew filmed, the story trending. Daughter reclaims family estate. Tessa stormed out, her eyes blazing. You can't take my house, she shouted, clutching the voided deed. I crossed my arms, nodding to the sheriff, who handed her the notice. Say it again, I said, my voice calm. Tessa froze, her face crumbling, and muttered, This house isn't yours. From the driveway, her voice breaking. The sheriff handed me the keys, and I walked inside, Mom's chandelier glowing above. The Raleigh Times headline read, Daughter's Trust Defeats Stepmother's Fraud. I moved back in, restoring Mom's study, erasing Tessa's tacky decor. My father invited me to dinner, offering apologies. Isla, we underestimated you, he said. I looked at him, unflinching. You chose Tessa without asking me. I'm done proving myself. Tessa faded from Raleigh's elite, her party's over. I stood in the garden, holding Mom's photo, the real deed in my hand. They thought I'd cry and leave. I smiled and handed the judge the truth. Hey, if you loved this epic takedown, smash that subscribe button for Revenge Line. We drop the best family drama and revenge stories every week. Comment below and tell us where you're watching from. Thanks for joining us.